Hi. What do you want? I'm in the middle of writing my fantasy novel filled with colorful characters, heroes, and villains, and difficult dilemmas. It's going to be a pretty complex piece of work once it's finished, much like my personality. You want to know more about me? Well, I'm an INFP, or so I've tested for one. But 4 letters do not do justice to who I am deep inside. INFPs hate to be labeled. It is literally impossible to put into words all that we are. Our feelings and values are thousands of times deeper than Mariana's Trench. They serve as our guiding light through the darkness and uncertainties of life. If that means we can't be what other people consider normal, that's fine. Normal isn't something to aspire to anyways. It's something to avoid, like the plague. We'd rather stay true to who we really are than fall into the trap of insincerity, to become a husk of ourselves just to conform to the callous world. You want to know why we're like this? Well, there are these things called cognitive functions that influence the way we perceive the world and judge it. But these alone cannot define a person. There is a lot more nuance to a person's personality that these things can never reflect. But for the sake of time, I'll just explain the cognitive functions for an INFP like myself. The dominant function, the first one in our stack, is known as Introverted Feeling, or FI. This is an internal judgment of things or people according to feelings. We use this when we make decisions according to the values and feelings we hold independent of the external world. This gives us a sense of individualism. We'd risk running against the grain of societal norms to protect our sense of self. INFPs are defined through use of this function. The secondary function we use is known as Extroverted Intuition, or NE. This is the external perception of the metaphysical world, of ideas and concepts. We use this when we explore ideas or spot patterns in the external world. Working alongside Introverted Feeling, INFPs use Extroverted Intuition as a way of expressing ourselves, usually through writing or other art forms, and as a way of gathering ideas that we find valuable. For instance, this novel I'm writing is an epic fantasy account about my time working for Shoelace USA. The evil Dark Lord is the manager that used to yell at me all the time, and his minions are all the people in that office that just fell in line and did nothing to help me. I'm gonna make them into a grotesque hybrid of man and sheep. The tertiary, or third function, develops later in adulthood for an INFP. This is Introverted Sensing, or SI. This is the internal perception of the physical world. This gives us a subjective view of the external world based on past experiences or impressions. You can think of it as a kind of blueprint we use to compare and contrast with the current world. This gives INFPs a sense of routine or consistency in our daily lives. It also makes us highly receptive to nostalgia. Makes me sad to think that I wanted to grow up as a kid, but now that I'm an adult, all I want is to be a kid again, not having to deal with the bullshit of the adult world. Our last function, also known as the inferior function, is known as Extroverted Thinking, or TE. This is the external judgment of things or people according to logic. We use this when we make decisions according to the proven facts of the outer world. We also use this to organize the environment based on logical order and hierarchies. Being the weakest for the INFP, people tell us that we tend to ignore facts that run against our values or beliefs. But you know what? Not everything can be proven with logic. There are some things that can't be proven and can only be felt. Rainbow butterfly fairies do exist. You can only see them if you truly believe. You wouldn't understand. But I take comfort in knowing I'm not alone. Let me show you some celebrities and fictional characters that just so happen to be INFPs.
Art, cunning, or material to make a really long narrative which would hold the average reader right through.
Well, I'm not sure about great stuff I've done on the big screen.
So, I think as a director, I think you try to relate to whatever you're doing, whether it's created by you or it's...
No. I do not know the way.
I want adventure in the great wide somewhere.
Search your feelings, Father. You can't do this. I feel the conflict within you. Let go of your hate.
There are not enough words in the written language to fully describe who I am, deep inside. Other INFPs can say the same. We are highly idealistic people with strong imaginations and values. But life is cruel to the idealist. So, we do what we can, protecting our greater sense of self while helping people we empathize with. Just promise that you won't see me or anybody else as just a 4-letter code. There's a lot you can learn from anybody if you just look deep enough. I think that's a good closing line for my book. There's a lot you can learn from anybody if you just look deep enough.